Hello. So it's week 1 of our beginners course, and we're just going to begin sitting very comfortably. And for that, I would recommend cross-legged position with something under the bum. And so take a moment or two to get comfortable. And we really want to feel the sense of connecting to the earth. So I'm going to ask you to pull the flesh of your sitting bones out and back so you can feel that connection through the sitting bones. And we're just going to lower the gaze or close the eyes. Listen to the breath. Notice how you're feeling. These two principles are really important in yoga. The concept of being self-reflective, noticing how you are in your body and your mind. And paying, as part of that, is paying attention to the breath. So we're going to bring our hands onto the belly. Hopefully you've got nice warm hands. Breathe into the hands, so feel the belly expand with that in-breath. We're breathing in and out through the nose. Not trying to force anything, just noticing that flow in and out through the belly. And you can even allow the belly to sort of expand a bit more, like a balloon maybe. And then we're going to let the breath travel from the belly up into the ribs. So bring one hand onto the ribs and the other hand can stay on the belly. So breathing into the belly and then breathing into the ribs. Breathing out from the ribs, from the belly. In fact, this style of breathing is 3 parts, comes in 3 parts. So we've looked at the belly, we've looked at the ribs, we're going to take it into the heart, chest area. So breathing into the belly, breathing into the ribs. Finally, feel that breath come up into the chest. And then on the out breath, breath leaves the chest, leaves the ribs, leaves the belly, so you feel the belly pull back. So we'll just do that a few times. And then just let your breath go back to normal. You can bring your hands onto your knees. So we're going to have a look at the pelvic floor. And this is the domain of the first chakra. And if you have any doubts about what exactly the pelvic floor is, don't worry, I'm going to explain it. So first of all, find those sitting bones, those bony bits that we're sitting on, and pull the flesh out and back. And then we're going to locate the muscles between those 2 points and pull them together. And then relax them. And you can, if it helps, you can use this image of like elevator doors closing as the muscles pull together. And then lifting up, holding, and dropping down. And completely relaxing, so letting the doors open. So do that again. So feel those muscles between those 2 sitting bones, pulling them in together as though the doors were closing, lifting up, holding, and then letting them drop down, opening, relaxing everything. So we also want to connect the muscles between the pubic bone at the front of the body and the tailbone, which is the most bottommost vertebrae in the spine. So find these 2 points, find the bony pubic area, and then find the tailbone. And we're going to pull together those muscles, the muscles between these points. So again, you can use the image of elevator doors closing, pulling together, lifting, holding, dropping, and opening. Do that one more time. Pulling together, closing, lifting, holding, dropping, and opening, and completely relaxing everything. So we're going to move on to our backs now. So you're just going to lie on your back with your legs bent, and we'll work the pelvic floor a little bit more and use that breath technique. So take a little bit of time to come down. So you're not just plonking yourself on the floor, you're laying yourself down vertebrae by vertebrae, really feeling that connection to the ground. The hands can press into the floor. The feet, want to sort of really feel connection through the feet. So pad them about a little bit. And then we're going to lift the hips. So lift the tailbone area and those first few vertebrae. And then drop them down and relax them completely. So the next time we're going to use the pelvic floor muscles, very consciously bringing them into that lift. So pulling together the muscles between the sitting bones and between the tailbone and the pubic bone. Feel them all pull together, and then lifting, holding, and dropping down and completely relaxing. So we'll do that a couple more times. And pulling all those muscles together. So the elevator door was closing, lifting, holding, and then dropping everything back down to the floor and relaxing. So we'll do those movements again, but bring in the breath this time. So we're going to lift the hips, And feel that breath come up into the belly, then into the ribs, into the heart. And lowering everything down on the exhalation. Breathing into the belly, into the ribs, into the heart. Lowering everything down. One more time. Into the belly, into the ribs, into the heart. Lowering everything down. So completely relax for a moment. You can let your knees flop in. So we'll bring in another little movement with this. We're going to lift the hips and then allow the hands to come up and overhead on the in-breath. So feel that breath come up into the belly, into the ribs, into the chest, and then on the out-breath, let everything come back down to the floor. Feel the breath leave the chest, ribs, the belly. Try that again. And relax everything down. You can let your knees flop in to touch. And then we're just going to roll over onto the side of the body. So I'm on my right side. So you can turn onto your right side. We're going to rest on the elbow and the forearm. The elbow is under the shoulder. We're going to come up into a side plank, but we're going to take a little bit of support from the top leg. So we're going to bring that top leg, plant the foot in front of us, and then lifting up. But as you lift up, you want to feel that engagement of the pelvic floor. So pulling everything in, feel those muscles gathering in, and then coming up. And the arm can come up to the ceiling, maybe over the ear if you prefer. Holding, and then coming down. So try that again. So feeling that gathering together of the pelvic floor, lifting up, the arm up, over the ear, and all the way down on the out breath. One more time. So if it's easy for you, just hold it for a bit longer. Coming down on the out breath. And we'll just go to the other side, to do the other side. So, elbow under your shoulder, top foot in front of you so you can take support from that. If you're finding this tough, keep that opposite other hand down so you're just coming up, feel that pelvic floor lift. Arm can come up too. Bring it over the ear if that feels good. And then all the way down on the out breath. Once again. All the way down on the out breath. And again. All the way down on the out breath. And from here, we're just going to come into kneeling position. So we're on all fours. So thinking about the pelvic floor and the theme of the first chakra, the root chakra, it's all about stability. And that obviously doesn't just relate to the pelvic floor, it also relates to our hands and feet. It's particularly our hands in yoga, because we're so often using our hands to support ourselves. So let's just spend a little minute here. Spread your fingers. Look down at your hands. Can you spread the fingers? Can you position the middle finger so it points forward to the front of the mat? And can you make every joint of the hand connect with the floor? So you might need to push down a little bit into some joints if they aren't connecting to the floor. And you can rock a little bit onto the hand, rocking onto the hand. To feel that, deepen that connection. And then we're going to, so that's a traditional sort of position for the hands for loads of yoga poses, the middle finger pointing forward, but we want to give the wrist a little bit of a stretch. So we're going to turn the fingers out. Try and keep that feeling of connecting through every joint in the hand. And again, you can rock onto the hands. And we'll try, this is a bit harder, bringing the fingers so they turn back towards the knees. So maybe just do one hand at a time. So if this feels just very strong, bring your knees in so you're not so intensely putting pressure into the wrist. Try the other hand, turning the other hand back. And then we're just going to tuck the toes under. So this is great for the feet, actually. I know that a lot of people find this challenging for the feet, so maybe don't hold it too long if you find it really hard. But where possible, spreading the toes, turning onto the ball of the foot and sitting back on your heels, palms up. We're just going to lower the gaze, close the eyes. Feel that quite intense stretch in the foot, in the feet. And then we're going out. So back onto the hands, back onto the knees. And we'll still paying attention to the feet. We're going to take that right foot and stretch it away. Keep it on the floor, spread the toes. You can kind of push into the ball of the foot. You can rock back and forward so you feel that the heel is getting a stretch. You can really lift that heel. You can really then push the heel away. Really trying to get lots of strong feelings in the feet, to wake up the feet. And then we're going to just lift the foot, turn onto the front of the foot and press the front of the foot into the floor. Again, you can kind of scrunch up the toes a little bit, so you're kind of rocking a little bit on the foot. We'll do the other leg. I'm just going to turn around so you can see. So we're taking the left foot away. And to really spread those toes and push out through the heel. Rocking, rocking, back and forth. Trying to create as much sensation as we can in the feet. Feel that Achilles heel area working. You can really push into the toes, lifting the heel, and then you can push the heel back. And then we're going to lift the foot, and we're going to press into the front of the foot. Stretching the front of the foot. You can tuck the toes under a little bit, or sort of, actually, no, that's not what I mean. I mean sort of squidge into the toes. Working on the, pressing the front of the toes into the floor. And then come back to kneeling, tuck the toes under again. Just sit back on your heels, feel that interesting sensation. Into the feet. And as you do that, you can use that quality that I was talking about, the idea of self-reflection. Just sort of noticing how that feels, noticing how you feel. Any emotions coming up, any strong feelings, good or bad. So coming back to that idea of our foundations, we're going to come back into an all fours position. We're going to take the right hand away. And you'll notice at this point, you have to kind of restabilize because you're losing a little bit of your support. So restabilize. Probably need to engage the pelvic floor a little bit, it may help here. And then we're taking the opposite foot away to reach with the hand and push back through the foot. So. And then make it a little bit more challenging. Going to bring the elbow and the knee in. You touch them. And just do that 2-3 times, taking the elbow and the knee together on an exhalation as you reach away, breathing in. And swap hands. Bring your knee down. So take the left hand away. You'll notice that you lose a bit of your stability there. So find that, regain that, and then the opposite foot. Reach, and then stretch back through the heel. And then elbow to knee, round your back. And finishing with the knee down, the hand down. I'm just going to come back into this seated position, so we're sitting back on the heels. And then, so you've got options here. We're going to see if we can roll back into a squat. But I'm aware that's quite hard for people on their knees and hips. And so if this little maneuver back into a squat is too much for you, just find another way into it. If kneeling, if this feels just far too strong on the knees, you can sit on something. So rather than having your bum hovering, you could bring your bum down. Just makes it a bit more manageable if you're struggling with squats. And we're going to bring the hands together. We're going to gently, gently push the knees wide. So I'm going to, again, it's very sort of earthy pose. So the root chakra, the pelvic floor area is very kind of basic part of our body. All about our stability, feeling secure, feeling grounded. So squats are great for that. Really look down at your toes, you can spread them and kind of feel that opening, that stretch around the groin, inner thigh, into the pelvic area. Try and relax your lower back down. So there may be part of you that's holding back, gripping and tensing. Can you completely relax your body down? So the bum sinks down towards the ground. Listen to your breath. Can you feel that sense of flow of the breath coming into the belly, into the ribs, into the heart? And then we're going to bring the hands down. We're going to come up into a forward bend. So take your time to come up. Completely fine to have a big bend in the knees, but can you keep your hands on the floor? Just again, we're trying to be really stable here. So the feet can be about hip width. Bring your hands flat if you can. Drop the head. And then as you feel, if you feel quite stable and it's not too challenging on the legs, to have a go at straightening one leg and then the other. And we're going to come all the way up to standing. And come to the front of the mat. So we do a warrior, really brilliant pose for building strength in the legs and help you focus on the feet. You can use your pelvic floor again. So we're going to lift the heel of the right leg. Let that left leg become really solid. Spread the toes. When you feel stable in the left leg, you're going to allow the right knee to float up. And then with control, we're taking that foot back. So I'm going to spend a bit of time here. So you want to feel very stable. So if you're not feeling so stable, you might need to bring the foot in a little bit. We want the front knee to be bent and the knee above the ankle. And we want to push back into the back foot. We want to try and straighten up this back leg. And the hips point forward to the front of the mat. And then the full pose, you have your arms up and overhead. And we'll do a few little movements with the arms, so you're just holding this rigid falling. And then hands can come to the heart. We're going to lift the heel of the back foot. We're going to start to take the weight over onto this front leg. We're going to step up, bring the knee in. And then take it away again. You're really finding your foundations again. So pushing back into the back foot. Spread the toes of the front foot. Set it up so your knee is above your ankle. And the arms can come up overhead. Warrior one, the hips point forward. Push back into that back foot so the back leg's working quite hard here. Have a go at lifting all the toes on the front foot. See how that feels. And then plant them again. We're going to do that little balance again. So the hands come into the heart. We're lifting the heel. Take the weight over onto the front leg. When you're ready, you can bring that knee in. Hold it. And step it away one last time. Warrior one. So find that foundations again. So the feet, really pushing back into that back foot. Feel the, you don't want to scrunch up the toes on the front foot. So can you lift them and spread them? Back leg is working quite hard here. Straight if possible. The front knee above the ankle. Arms up overhead. Belly in. You can engage your pelvic floor here for a moment. You're very, very stable. And then we're going to try a slightly different balance. We're going to bring the arms forward. We're going to lift the heel. And we're just going to lift up into warrior two. Sorry, warrior three. Warrior three. So the toes point down. If your back's sore, bend the knee. And then we're going to come out of this by bringing the back foot together with the front foot, hands into heart. Have a little rest here. We'll come forward into forward bend. Rest. Then forward bend. Hands can come all the way down to the floor. Let your head roll. So you're not holding tension in your neck. And then we're slowly coming up to standing. So we'll do that little sequence on the other side. I'm just going to turn to the other edge of my back. So feet together. Hands can come into the heart. We're going to lift the opposite leg. Sorry, no, it's the right leg for me. I'm going to lift the right leg, let the knee float up. And taking it back and planting it. So find your stability. If you need to take the feet wider across the mat, you can do that. You want to be able to really push back into that back foot. You can lift the toes of the front foot, spread them, bring them down. Hips point forward. So yeah, just allow yourself to be stable, find your stability. And then we're going to come forward into that little balance of bringing the knee up. Hold it here, keep breathing. We're taking the foot away, planting it. Push back into that back foot. So the back leg's working quite hard. Hold it. And then when you're ready, coming forward. And back. arms up overhead. One last time, stepping forward. And back. So find your foundations again. Really pushing back into that back foot, the hips point forward. Spread the toes of the front foot, the knee of the front leg is roughly above the ankle, but or behind the ankle if you need it to be not quite so intense. So we're going to come into the warrior three, where we take the body forward and we're just going to balance on this front leg. So your arms can come out in front of you. If you're feeling very wobbly, maybe bring them in. If your back's sore, you can bend the knee. The toes point down. And then we're going to come up out of this by coming up and bring both feet together. And to come to rest, we're going to just bend the knees, come down into a squat. Just going to turn around. So if you need to bring your bum down because your hips are sore, that's fine. Just bring the bum onto the floor. Or you could just sit on something. That's a really good option. We're just gently pushing the knees apart. Feel that. Dropping down off the lower back and the buttocks. And this opening of the groin. So, we're just going to come to sitting on our bums. And the feet are about hip width apart, the hands are going to come behind us. So we're just going to round the back, push into the hands, spread the fingers, remember that sort of awareness that we want to have through the hands. Drop the head, round the back. And then you can lift the chest and lift the head. It's a sort of spinal flexion. Lift the chest and the head, round the back. Feels great for the back. You can speed this up a little bit if you wanted to. I have my hands pointing towards the bum, but maybe just try the other way as well, because that can feel quite good. So maybe we can intensify this by shuffling or lifting the bum so it comes more towards your heels. Again, lift the chest around the back. Hopefully you should feel very aware of the movement in the pelvis area. And that's our root chakra, the first chakra. Muladhara, it's called the Muladhara. So we're going to go for something a little stronger. So just going to lift your chest again, and then try lifting your bum, come up to sort of tabletop position. And can you hold that? We don't want any tension creeping into the buttocks. So we want to make the arms work quite hard, the chest work quite hard. We're going to engage the pelvic floor, but not to the extent that we tense up and tighten in the lower back. and come down. Try that a couple more times. So lifting your bum, you can swing it over towards your heels. Coming up. We want to keep the hips as high as we can without tensing up there. The head can drop back. So the full pose, the full version of this pose, you have outstretched legs. So if you wanted to try that, you could. So you are going to push into the heels. You're going to spread your hands, really get that strong connection into the ground through your hands, and then push it down. Feel your pelvic floor lift, and you can bring the toes to the floor, the head. Finally, come down, bend your knees, let your body fold down over your legs. So we're just doing a forward bend. Come back to your breath. So feel the breath coming in and out. Through the belly first, then into the ribs, then into the heart. We'll bring the soles of the feet together. So you can hold on to your feet, let your body drop down. Keep that focus on the breath. The rise and fall of the breath. We're going to finish just lying on our backs, coming into Shavasana. So if you have any pain in the lower back, better to keep a bend in the knees. If your head tips back, it's better to have a little support under the head. So we're going to bring one hand onto the belly, one hand onto the heart. And we're just going to take a few rounds of that 3-part breath. Breathing into the belly, into the ribs, into the heart. And finishing by just resting. You don't have to do anything with your breath, just let it be natural. Hands can rest on the floor, arms up. So it's Shavasana, means corpse pose. or death pose. And the idea is that you're just letting go of everything, just for now, letting go of everything. Let go of thinking, let go of tension maybe that you have around the face, the jaw, the belly. And enjoy this moment. We're staying with that principle that we looked at earlier, this idea of self-reflection. So just noticing any little changes in the body, any sensations, any emotions. Just witnessing it all.